EDP 365 covers topics with explicit and strong language and is intended for mature audiences only. Topics may be sensitive to some, and everyday people may not agree with the views expressed during this discussion, but we don't give up.
Whoa!
But keep in mind, we'll give you the point of view of everyday people with everyday situations, and EDP 365 is not afraid to go there.
All right. So welcome. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Liz.
Yo, I'm Chris Styles, and we're Everyday People 365 on Facebook Live.
All right, y'all, so tonight, I've got to wing it because my glasses are upstairs. And
you gotta wing it.
I just do not feel like going upstairs to get them. And then it's like, where are they? Because they're not in my case. So, what I'm going to do, though, is just get on with the rest of the show. So, y'all know, did you say I'm here Everyday People 365?
I sure did.
Okay, that's because I got my mind on my glasses.
My mind on my glasses, my money on my glasses.
That's right. So, as I was saying, guys, so now we're at the part of the show where I'm just looking at how crooked that looks over there, but it's okay. It's a winged night.
It's gonna be what it is.
So tonight I'm tasting. This is a Riesling, and it's from Landshut, Germany. So let me taste this and see if I like it. You know, I usually go for something much sweeter. So let me see.
What you think?
This is a negative. I will never buy that again.
Ooh-wee.
You know, it's kind of fizzy, sparkly.
Bubbly.
I don't really like the sparkly stuff.
Sparkly.
So, I don't know, Chris Styles. I don't think I'm gonna purchase that one again. So, y'all.
Wow. So let me ask you something.
We got some issues. So it's like
we gonna be alright.
You know, I haven't had my banner up in a long time, so I've missed my banner being up because I had my other banner up. So this is my first banner, which I love, but I'm gonna have to get a new one. But anywho, so y'all, I want to try to tie in a whole lot of stuff tonight. So Chris and I were just having this discussion. Now this is not the topic for the show, but just something to think on. So today I'm listening to the radio, and the radio, what are they called? Announcers, jockeys, whatever they're called, said that Liam Neeson, now, if you don't know who Liam Neeson is, Liam Neeson was the father in Taken. He's been in some really good movies, and he's got a new movie coming out, so he's promoting a new movie. So the question to him was, now, as always, it's about revenge. Somebody did something, now he's got to seek revenge. So they asked him, has that ever happened to you in real life where a situation occurred and you wanted to get revenge? And he says, yes. A friend of his got raped. And so he asked the friend, do you know who raped you? She says, no. So then he goes on to say, well, do you know what he looks like or something like that? And she said, yes, he's black. So during the interview, he says, well, I just want to find the black bastard and, I don't know, kill him, beat him up, do something. So, people seem to have an issue with him saying that. So again, this is not the topic for tonight, but I just want to know, what are your thoughts on him saying that? So now they're saying he's a racist and all this other kind of stuff. So again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I just figured that I'd throw it out there to y'all tonight and just let me know, what are your thoughts on that?
Now, Liz, because sometimes people throw questions out there to bait people into saying some shit and take a clip just to blow up their platform. You understand? Just like I could have been sitting on here. We might have been talking about somebody we know together,
right?
And you might have asked a question. I answered the question truthfully based on what was asked.
And that's what they said.
But not thinking that if I didn't prepare my answer, say my answer in a certain specific way, that it was going to be twisted or turned and thrown out in the media, against this person just to blow up their platform and get drama, get likes and get clicks and all that shit. Listen, man, honestly, I don't think this has to do anything with black or white, Because if I had, whether it was a white female or a black female, whether a white male, Spanish, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Asian, whoever raped the person would have got the same response.
Right.
So it wouldn't have mattered who. It was just, you know what I'm saying? So
I just didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Right.
Because I just personally didn't think it was that big of a deal for it to be all over the radio, and people are saying now he's got to try to apologize for it or clean it up. But I mean, whatever.
Apologize and clean up for what? Because first and foremost, if we as minority people, a white person raped your niece or your grandmother or somebody, we ain't thinking two fucks about that. Whoever said the person was skin color.
Let's say it was white. What would you say?
I'd have been like, yo, I'm gonna find and kill that. I'm gonna beat that white motherfucker's ass.
See?
That's it.
What's the difference?
But
anywho, we're not gonna spend a whole lot of time on that. Hey to everybody. Enos, I'm getting ready to tell you right now. Tonight, y'all, our topic is sex, power, control, manipulation. So, of course, this stems from everything that's going on with R. Kelly. I didn't want to cover it when it first came out because January was devoted to our female entrepreneurs.
Nothing wrong
with your song that you sing.
What I love about that.
So it was more important to us to have the female entrepreneurs and to focus on R. Kelly. And I do want to say this, guys. I don't want to get wrapped up into R. Kelly tonight. We're talking about sex, power, control, and manipulation. So again, that's where it stems from. Yeah, I know, Ian. It's not him again. We're not focusing on him, but he's that situation is kind of what has sparked the conversation for EDP 365. So
no, not him.
And I do want to tie in some things with that, like how they talked about the parents being responsible and the parents didn't do their job, this, that, and other. But we're going to get into a lot of different things tonight. So what I've done, and for you guys who are just tuning in maybe for the first time, what I normally like to do is grab some stats and share some things as we're going on in a conversation. So I'm going to break down each thing: sex, power, control, manipulation. So sex. Sex means different things to different people. Above all, it is a healthy and natural activity. Mm-hmm. It is something most people enjoy and find meaningful, even if they create meaning, in different ways. Yep. Okay. I can get with that. And I looked for a few definitions of the word sex, and that was the one that captured me, so I used that. And so when we're talking about being involved with someone, being in a relationship, you're having sex, then, the relationship can go sour when control comes into play, when power comes into play, when manipulation comes into play. And of course, I think all these things probably were a huge weight in R. Kelly's situation and everything that was going on there. And so again, like I said, I don't want to spend the whole show talking about him, but just kind of tying those two things together. So the first thing I got, y'all, was power. 4 truths about power in relationships, including yours. Okay, so definition of power, guys. Power, the capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or course of events. We don't talk much about relationship power, but rarely do couples share it evenly.
Turn to the right. Stand up.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Sit your ass down.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the first thing we're talking on, guys. We're talking about power.
Mm-hmm.
I was joking.
You did that.
And Kristen, you try to help me. But as I said, we don't talk much about relationship power, but rarely do couples share it evenly. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about power in relationships and it not being shared evenly, sometimes it's based on who makes the most money in the relationship. Who's the most dominant person in the relationship? Whereas, you remember in the meeting we had about a week ago, and I was told that I have a domineering personality, and so that kind of sometimes. And so, like I said, I think it really depends on the relationship. Some people look at money. Does. Some people look at I forgot what the hell I just said.
Some people look at money. Some people look at when you talked about
having a dominant personality.
Some people
whether
look at
you're
religion.
a male or female. Exactly, that's a good point. That's a good point as well. So, let me share some other things. It said powers differs across relationship domains. Dividing of power in different domains is typical in relationships. So, going back to the R. Kelly situation, with the power, his power was he's a superstar. He's a mega star. And so he was able to convince and coerce women or young girls to fall into that trap, fall into his web. And, you know, since we're talking about power and him being a mega star, the parents. I don't know how much you can actually blame the parents, I guess to a certain extent, but not so much that all the blame lies on the parent.
Right.
In this day and age, a lot of times parents don't have control over their children.
Right.
The law forbids you to discipline your children in certain manners. When I was younger, I didn't even give it a thought. Hell, I didn't even know what CPS was when I was a kid.
I found out.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, I only knew to call the police if something happened, not call the cops because my mother beat me.
Right.
And so, you know, in that situation, you're talking about girls 16, 17 years old, and then you're talking about stardom coming into play. I want to be a singer, I want to be this, and I want to be that. Now, in certain situations, there were things that happened that I would not have done. I don't think I would have sent Brianna off to Chicago to be with R. Kelly to start a music career. Okay, why can't I be there with her? Why can't this happen or why can't that happen? So that would have been my thing. And everybody has a different parenting style, you know, but when you're hungry for stardom or you really want to put your child in the limelight, then yeah, you may fall victim to, okay, well, she'll be okay. We're going to watch her. We're going to do this and we're going to do that.
And the whole while, he's like,
yeah, exactly. But I also want to say too, we don't always know what our children do when they leave our homes. We don't know what our children do all the time when they're not standing right here beside us.
And sometimes when that door closed too.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, people can always say, oh, if it was me, my child wouldn't have this, and my child wouldn't have that, and I wouldn't have did this, and I wouldn't have did that. Shit. So a lot of those girls were saying they went off to the mall, and they met him at a mall, or they met him at a concert. Again, you don't always know what your kid is doing. You just don't. Unless you are out and about with them, you don't know. And so one girl was saying that, you know, she was telling the mother that she was going to parties and this, that, and the other. I mean, going whatever with her friends, where lo and behold, she was actually hanging out with R. Kelly. And so the mother didn't find out till one of her friends told her what's going on. Because when you're raising your kids, you wanna build that them. Right. You want to trust them. You want to build that rapport where you want to be able to trust them to go outside your door. So, like I said, so that power came into play. Yeah, you don't trust kids with your you don't trust strangers with your kids. But in that situation, he's not looked at as a stranger because he's a mega star. Right. And if you don't know his history, and that's what he, you know, those are the things that he was doing, then I mean, you may again fall into that web where it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna let my kid go. Had it been Breonna Turner, no, I can't send my 17, 16-year-old off with this grown man. Nobody knows my daughter except him. You know, again, it's a straddle the fence kind of thing. I wouldn't place all of the blame on the parents, but I do believe they have some responsibility. But again, you can't always know what your children do when they're not with you.
And let me even add on to that. Sometimes your children are master manipulators.
Exactly. We're going to talk about manipulation.
Want, all right. Parents, although we supposed to be in control, although adults we supposed to be in control, we get manipulated too.
Right.
And somebody that he may have, for the parents to talk to, may have been this character. This is their job all day, every day. he might even have to been there all day, every day. And these two have been able to manipulate the parents into believing that we got X, Y, and Z down for y'all. We got this. They don't get their homework done. They got this X, Y, and Z. We're going to make them hard. We're going to make them stars. And as a parent, and you hearing these things, knowing that he's successful himself, not knowing his prior background,
right,
but knowing that he's been successful himself, he knows what the hell he is talking about. So you more inclined like, okay, cool. And
right, exactly.
Wow, like if he's able to accomplish that, and he was in school and he done X, Y, and Z, I know that he's able to do the same thing for my child, my daughter, my son, whoever that is, not knowing some of the things that's going on, that's going in the background or the scenes of the situation. Now, when you talk about manipulation, to manage or influence skillfully, especially in an unfair manner, and a lot of times, as individuals, as parents, as us being in relationships and things of that nature, we have this thing called hope. We have this thing that we have a heart, okay?
Oops.
So we want to give somebody that opportunity to do the right thing because we would do the right thing. But everybody's not so inclined to do the right thing when it comes to us, our money, our children, and whatever else. They're more in a position to, famous line by Mobb Deep. They said that they were, it was like they're plotting. They said, wow, smiling in your face and shaking your hand. They said they plotting and planning to rob you like white man. So, again, he's looking to take any and everything that you have for his benefit.
I want to add this real quick, too. Mm-hmm. And y'all, the dollar is mighty. People see stardom, people see money, and sometimes they lose their damn mind. I mean, and that's just being honest. People lose their damn mind. But let me go on with this. So it also says power includes the decision process. How do you make decisions in your relationship? So how do you make decisions in your relationship? For me, I'm not that type of woman where I want a man to be dominant 100% of the time. Don't get me wrong. I like a man who can take the lead, but I like a man who can fall back as well. And so you can't have all that power over me, as it says. Power is the capability or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. And some other great things that was in the articles that I found. This is from Psychology Today. But some other great information that I'm going to share later. First of all, I don't like people telling me what to do. That's a problem for me. So I don't do well in relationships where I have a man who's telling me what to do, or he's demanding, or again, he's always the dominant person in the relationship. Again, I like a man who can take control in certain situations, but I still need him to fall back because, again, I have a very dominant personality, and so that's not going to work with me in as far as being in a relationship. And sometimes when you fall in love with people, you find yourself, and this is also later on some information that I found, but sometimes when you fall in love, you find yourself doing things that you would not normally do in a relationship.
Especially if you come from a hurt place, or you feel unloved, unworthy, or...
Right.
And sometimes if... people used to tell me when I was younger that I suffered from tunnel vision. And to me, tunnel vision wasn't anything bad, but sometimes you have tunnel vision so bad that no matter what you're going through, no matter what's happening around you, you have these blinders on. All I'm trying to do is get to the finish. I'm trying to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm trying to get to that finish line, my goal. So whatever I got to go through to get there, I'm going through there to get it. But there were several situations that kind of allowed me to take those blinders off and stop being so tunnel vision and focused when people around me who love me and care about me trying to tell me the right things, and I'm just brushing them off and pushing them to the side for what I want. And sometimes what we want for ourselves is not good for us, nor is it good for our family, children, or whatever else. So all these things come into play. We'll be talking about this sex, power, control, and manipulation. Les?
All right. So it also goes on to say power reflects interdependence. Now, if you don't know what interdependence is, it's the dependence of two or more people or things on each other. It's not enough to focus on one person's dispositional tendency towards influencing or being differential. A complete understanding of power in a relationship requires a study of each person's power. All right.
That's powerful.
So then, to close out the information I have on power, it says power is a fascinating dynamic in relationships, well worth some reflection. It likely plays a role in conflict, persuasion, trust, and information sharing. As you think about your own relationship's power, keep in mind that for healthy relationships, power isn't a stable entity. It changes over time. Goes back to what I said. I don't want to be in a relationship where my man is always dominant, always calling the shots, always making the decisions, and I'm just like, okay. So, again, it changes over time across and within domains. What your power structure looks like today may be different from how it will look in years to come as you tackle new challenges and adapt to new circumstances.
You know what? This is why I love my ACHs. Because not only, you know, they are who they are to the show and to us, the knowledge and the wisdom that they have is amazing to me. You know, especially, let me read this comment. Ashley says, he says, I like a man to lead. It doesn't mean that he has to dominate. Wisdom is essential. I need a strong man because I'm a strong woman, but I'm not one for being controlled. That's right. I do believe in submission, though. And again, that comes from time to time, depending on what the situation is. And I would just say this. Even for myself and my situation, my marriage, there's not a dominating party, a dominating factor. But what we do for our strengths, we do allow in that area, we do allow that person to lead. Because that's their strength. This is what I do every day, all day, and I do it well. Just as well as she does some amazing things, and whatever she leads, I'm gonna follow through with her. I'm gonna be like, okay, you know, I'm gonna let you do this. I'm with you. I got you. And there's a balance to that. It doesn't mean that one person is in control and not vice back and forth and the other. But I mean, it is an amazing thing that you can do with power, control, and balance. I'm not too much. I don't give a damn about that manipulation type of situation, because power, control, manipulation really has no place in a true, loving relationship. And these things can taint what love is, what love stands for, and it can also turn to something being very tolerant. You're tolerant of it because you're trying to reach in whatever agenda or goal that you may have, but you may not be, I would say, you have love for the person, but you may not be in love anymore. And you have that hope that, you know, one day we're going to get this back together, we're going to get on the right path and do what it is that brought us here together. But I've been in situations where power, control, and manipulation just didn't work in a place where you're actually trying to be loving towards one another. It just doesn't work. Les, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I just wanted, did you read what Enos wrote?
But
one thing, Enos, this glass is for you. He said, you wanted some, this glass is for you.
Enos says, sex power and dominant status in a relationship should be mutual and not one-sided when it is upset the relationship's balance. But if you have no control and things get out of hand, it says the bill will always come due and there will be no winner in the relationship. And that's 100% facts. 100% facts. I've been there and done that in some relationships, but a lot of times it happened to me first, and I'm responding. Well, I'm not responding. I was being reactive to what was going on, what was happening. It just doesn't work. So I mean, I'd say that's 1,000% facts upon facts, and it is what it is.
Okay, I couldn't take it, y'all. I had to go upstairs and get my glasses. I couldn't take it.
And Eleanor, that's one thing that I always believed in or always said. And you said, I walk with my man, not behind him.
All right, now.
And wow, like again, that's why I love my HCHs, because it's the all truth. It's the truth, TRUF,
Okay.
truth.
All right, y'all. So now we're going to talk about control. Control is defined as, and this comes from Love Matters, the 10 most toxic forms of control in relationships. So, control is defined as the power to influence or direct people's behavior or the course of events. And so, again, we're going to tie in on the R. Kelly situation. So, he had the power, we talked about power, he had the power to influence or direct people's behavior. So again, normally, we would hope that normally a parent is not just going to allow their child to go off with someone, whether it's R. Kelly or whether it's Joe from down the street. You know, we would hope that, you know, parents would not just send their child out, okay, you're across the country and just keep me updated on what's going on.
They can tell you the truth.
Right. So his power influenced their thinking. His money, again, that control, that power, again, made them do things that maybe they wouldn't have normally done if it wasn't R. Kelly. And so the 10 toxic forms of control in a relationship. First one is coercing, trying to isolate you from others. Keeping financial or other resources out of your hands or sharing resources only after extracting a price from you. And so that's what he did.
He can keep taxing your ass though.
Right. Now, when that show was on, and I don't know how many of y'all actually saw it, but in that show, they talked about how the women would be locked in rooms and they had to stomp on the floor in order to use the bathroom. Or when you would go in there, they would be peeing in buckets and doing all this other kind of stuff. And if your way of life has been different, it's not like he raised these women, you know, as children. These people were at the age where they could think for themselves. And so, you know, it had to be some kind of control, some kind of power that he had over them in order for you to, okay, well, I was living in a nice house and this, that, and the other was going on with my family, you know, and I'm living all right. But now I got to pee in buckets. I got to wait my turn to have sex. I got to go downstairs in the Colorado room, whatever they called it. I have to go down there. I got to engage in sex with some other chick that I don't really want to do. You know, I don't really want to do this, but because it's him, I'm going to do it and I'm going to allow myself to be placed in that position. And I want to say this, it's not just on an R. Kelly level that this happens. It happens on our levels, the everyday people level as well. I can remember being in a relationship and I'm so busy trying to make him happy and, you know, do things that I was doing things that, like, damn, Les, you know, I think back on it now, I'm like, damn, Les, were you really thinking when you were in that relationship? You know, he would get mad and I would stop doing certain things so that he wouldn't be mad. You know, and after a while I was like, fuck this. I don't have to deal with this. But again,
you were just being reactive.
Right.
You were trying to be the balance to the negativity, but in essence, what she was doing was feeding the negativity.
Right, exactly.
And
exactly.
that is where you create the monster, the power, and whatever else. So the best thing that you can do is find a way, plot and plan to find your way out of that situation. I've been there myself, where you have a specific relationship with a woman. If she asks you for something during that course of that day, and you didn't give it to her, she starts flipping the hell out. You still don't give her anything today. The next day, she flipping the hell out. Next day, she flipping the hell out. So it's basically, she's still just pulling that rope, pulling you in slowly but surely, because now you don't want to go through the negativity. You don't want to keep arguing with her every day. You don't want to keep going through that. So you eventually be like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give her what she wants. Maybe she'll shut the fuck up. Maybe she'll stop hollering. Maybe she'll stop crying. Maybe she'll stop doing what she's doing.
Oh my God.
That's, you know. So you give it to her. Now she's happy. Everything is good. Next time you tell her no, you're like, oh, it's just like kids. So you giving into that tantrum or whatever that is for her, she's been getting away with this for many years now. So it's engraved in her. And these are the type of situations where you give in actually power and control and manipulation to this person. And you have to find a way to stop it or just leave the person the hell alone and move on with your life.
All right, so and hey to everybody who's just tuned in while I was walking away getting my glasses because I was tired of straining my eyes to see the darn screen. But the next thing talks about demeaning, debasing you through ridicule or name calling, embarrassing you in front of others, telling you that you are unattractive or unintelligent. And that happens a lot in relationships. I remember Bree being in a relationship, and I was so glad Bree got rid of this little boy. He was the clingiest little thing. Oh my gosh. I just want to say, please give my daughter some damn space. Yes, he was very clingy, and that right there was a bad sign, So I told Bree, you have to be careful of him because he's clingy and he's insecure. But anywho, once they finally broke up, amen, thank you, Father, he began to tell Bree negative things about herself. So it goes back to demeaning, debasing you through ridicule and name calling. And I had to say to her, I said, you know what, Bree, it bothered her. And I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care what you have going on. Sometimes people can say the slightest things, say the slightest things to you and make you start doubting yourself. Damn, well maybe I'm not as cute as I thought. Or maybe this business I have isn't really that great. And so those things happen. And I had to have a talk with her. I said, well, Bree, he didn't feel that way when you all were in a relationship. Right. So now all of a sudden, you're this and you're that. No, that's him being angry because now you're moving on. And so we have to be careful with that. I can't remember, and if somebody else saw that R. Kelly story, damn, this reason is just blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But if anybody else saw the story, and I can't remember if he was demeaning in the relationship, I think he was, I don't remember, but if anybody remembers that, just type, well, yeah, he was doing that as well. And so, like I said, some people resort to name calling to make you feel less or make you not want to think other people will possibly be interested in you. And again, sometimes that's hard depending on where you come from, where you're at in life. But we have to start learning to be happy with who we are. And I've been in that position where I wasn't happy with who I was. Oh, I might not be cute enough. I might not be this. I have to be happy with who God made me to be. And if there are certain things that I don't like about myself, I have to be willing to change them and do something about that. But change because that's what you want. If somebody says, hey, Les, you're a fat ass now. Hey, Les, you're a fat ass now.
Come here, let me talk to you. Come here a little closer. Let me tell you something in your ear. Wow. I have to lose the weight that I've gained over the years for me and not for someone else. So just, again, just be careful with those things. Did you want to ask something? Because I got a whole... And you know what, Les, one of the things I was going to speak about tonight, but I'm going to throw it out a little bit out there tonight for the men in Men's Corner, is, again, this is that thing that we talk about called boundaries, all right? Boundaries are a line that marks the limits of an area, a dividing line. I know that. I'm just saying, it ties into what we talk. But I'm saying, everybody at some point in your life, you're going to have to start setting up boundaries and lines.
Right.
Not allowing people to come in to cross them. Not allow people to come in to remove them at all whatsoever. And you'll have a great peace of mind for it. You'll be more sound. And you will definitely, I promise you, you will have no regrets about it. And that's just keeping our men, our young females, and our grown females, once you establish that place and you're comfortable with yourself, you love yourself, nobody's going to be able to derail or knock you off of that. Matter of fact, you'll knock them on their ass because they can't get through or manipulate you, control you, or use anything against you because you have your boundaries already set.
Okay, so they also talked about handicapping, shaming or scapegoating you, telling you that you couldn't survive without them in the relationship. And again, sometimes we so wrapped up in this individual that their word becomes law. Their word is what's dominant in your life, and this is what you're listening to. Again, we got to make sure that we don't lose ourselves in a relationship.
Right.
And just to piggyback on what you said, sometimes you got to learn to let people go. You love this person. You want to be with this person. But again, if you're dealing with the control, the power, manipulation, coercing, demeaning, handicapping, you may want to let that person go and get on with your life. All right, so confusing, gaslighting, protecting by accusing you of what they do, holding double standards that disfavor you. That's something else. Now, in the R. Kelly story, a lot of those women talked about how, they couldn't look at other men, they couldn't talk to anybody. But this dude, you got a harem in your house where you got a woman over here, a woman over here. They locked in rooms, they can't talk to each other.
Look, and they're like this. Like, you remember how the women overseas, how they had to look down, they couldn't look up at the man, they couldn't say nothing until they were spoken to or asked a question. He learned these things at a young age from the people who were dominating and manipulating him. And he turned those specific things around to dominate and control other people. And again, he used charm, he uses his influence, he used his fame, his power, whatever you want to call that. He used all these elements to draw these people in, to even pretend to be somebody that he's not or he wasn't. And I think we call that the representative. Sometimes we meet people and they're like, oh, that person's, they're so nice to me, they're so special, whatever like that, blah, 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 blah. And a couple weeks later, you're like, yo, that was the devil in disguise.
Right.
Lord.
A couple of years later.
Yeah, you just don't realize everything in the beginning, but that's why I just always say, sometimes before you jump into anything in any situations, give it enough time. That person is not going to allow that monster, that beast, to be tucked away so long because it's always fighting to come out and get out.
Weed and seed.
You have to weed and seed. That's her favorite line. Weed and seed first before you get into anything. Not just chemistry.
Right.
You're not just reacting because, oh my God, that's Amir LaRue, Chaka Khan, that's
right. She got a big booty. Oh my gosh. His stuff is looking good in them sweatpants.
Yo, he got muscles.
Those kind of things.
Oh, so she got just the bang in his body. She got green eyes. She got gray eyes. I want my kids to have gray eyes like hers. I'm gonna submit to her will so I can have kids with gray eyes like hers. People think like this, yo.
And that's why I say weed and seed. And for those of you who don't know what I mean by that, what I mean is take time to ask people the questions. Ask questions about, things that may be important to you. If ever, or not going to say if ever because it does happen, when somebody approaches me and they're saying, hey Les, I want to meet you, I want to spend time with you, blah, blah, blah. Let's have a conversation. Because now in 2019, people meet you online, come on, meet me at Starbucks and let's have some coffee. No, you can meet me on a telephone and we can have a conversation. And so like I said, you have to ask the questions. First of all, find out where you want to be. What is it that you want in terms of relationships? Where are you in your life? You may be at a point in your life where you can't really open the door for a relationship. You may be at the point in your life where you want to be married. So you have to ask those questions. Okay, do you want to be married? If this person says no, you can't be mad if you're with them for a couple of years and he's like, yo, I already told you I didn't want to be married. So again, ask the questions. What things are going to work for you? I know a question that I ask, and sometimes I just put feelers out there. All right, so, we living in two separate households. Do you think you should be able to come home at 4 o'clock in the morning? Do you think I should be able to come home at 4 o'clock in the morning? Ask the things that's going to pose problems for you later. whenever, and especially young dudes, I try to tell young dudes, I don't want to be involved with anybody that's young. I really don't. That's too much younger than me. And people always say age ain't nothing but a number. Age is way more than a number. Yes, it is. Because if at 25, you're approaching me, and I'm almost 50, you probably haven't gotten your career together. You probably still out here trying to go to the club and things like that. If you don't have kids, more than likely you're going to want kids. I don't want kids. So you have to have the conversations early. So let me move on because time is getting away from us. So badgering, pressuring or overwhelming you, interrogating you about where you have been, what you are thinking, how you spend your money or time, demanding sex or affection regardless of how you feel, refusing to take no for an answer. So some things in that, pressuring or overwhelming you, interrogating you. I was in a relationship and this dude interrogated me. Where you at? Where you been? Where you going? What color drawers you got on? Who was that in the background? I heard somebody talking. I heard somebody singing. I heard somebody sneeze. I heard somebody blink. Well, where you meet him at? What did you do? And it got to be annoying and aggravating. I couldn't take it. It was way too much. So, demanding sex or affection regardless of how you feel. Now, let me say this, and this is a TV show, but it does happen. Now, I don't know if any of you all watch Ray Donovan on Showtime. Showtime.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but it was a good show.
It's still a good show. It's still a good show.
So anyway, Ray Donovan.
The main character, Ray Donovan, him and his brothers, when they were younger, they were molested by priests. And I'll tell you all where I'm going with this in a moment. But they were molested by priests. So, of course, you see them living in their adult life. But when you see Ray Donovan have sex with women, he's very forceful. There's not a lot of love in the love making. Right. You know, it's so much anger there, and he pun not intended, he releases it during sex. And again, that's a show, but that happens all the time, where people may have experienced things in their life, and they release it in different ways. All right, so let me go on to the next one, because again, I got a whole bunch of stuff.
That's dope.
All right, denying, refusing to take responsibility. This is the worst thing, guys. And Chris, you share your thoughts, and you guys, you share your thoughts as well. There's nothing worse than being in a relationship with somebody and they're not treating you right and they're not doing the things that you think are working for you, and they don't see anything wrong with it. Let me tell you why that's a problem.
Minimization.
Because more than likely, it's not going to change. If somebody doesn't see anything wrong with their behavior, it's probably not going to change because they don't think that they're doing anything wrong. And so it may take a whole lot of convincing for you to say, for them to really understand what you're saying and what you're doing. Now, you know, I always use Big Will in my stories, again, because there's significant age difference between the two of us. And, you know, I could see that early on, and this was years ago, I could see that early on when we first got involved with each other, because it would be certain things that he would do, and when I would bring it to his attention, he was freaking clueless. And I'm like, yo, I don't know
what you talking about, man.
Right, exactly. And you know that's how he talk. He don't say mom, but you know that's how his ass talk. But so like I said, when I brought things to his attention, it became a thing of nagging to him. Because he didn't see anything wrong with his behavior and what he was doing. Excuse me, because that was the behavior that he was used to getting away with the women that he had dealt with prior to me. And in all the time, in us having a relationship, you know, he grew a lot, I grew a lot as well. But it's like I said, it was so many things. I was like, yo, what are you doing? And the last chick that you was with, why was she putting up with this bullshit? You know, but again,
people not the same place.
It wasn't, his behavior wasn't challenged. And so when I challenged the behavior, he couldn't understand. Like you said, what are you talking about?
Yo, why are you coming out on me?
What do you mean? I don't understand. I don't get it. But again, when people don't see anything wrong with their behavior, don't think that it's going to change instantaneously because they don't see anything wrong with it.
But there's one of the things too. It's one or two things. Either what Les just said, and I've had women in my life always try to play that innocent, I don't know what you're talking about, ish. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing. But I'm not letting that happen. I done been through this so many times. I see it coming a mile away. So when I tell you about it, challenge you on it, now you want to act like you the victim when you was trying to get over all the time. Ain't happening. Stop it, y'all.
All right. Hey, PC, you don't usually watch. Oh, I'm honored, PC. All right, so the next thing is intimidating, bullying you or going into a rage. All right, so let me say this. Again, y'all, weed and seed. Look at signs early before you end up in relationships that you can't get out of, or it's hard to get out of because you've built so much. So, I was in a relationship, and the guy asked me to marry him, and I said yes. And then I start seeing things. Y'all. And most of y'all who've been watching for a while, y'all know we had another host on the show by the name of Todd. Now, me and Todd are really good friends, so a lot of things I share with Todd. And so I told Todd about the guy. I was like, Todd, I have never seen rage in anybody else's face like that ever in my life. And I don't know what happened. Either I didn't tell him what I was doing, where I was going, because I didn't tell him that I had a day off from work. I can't remember what it was. But when he called me and we did the video chat, again, y'all, I never have ever seen anger in anybody's face. And like I said, it was beyond anger. It was rage. It was rage to the point. And normally men don't really scare me with words and arguing. But y'all, when he looked at me the way he looked at me,
yo, them demons is
I had to tell my friend, this dude will end up killing me. I mean, it's not funny. I can laugh a little bit about it right now. I'm like, this dude will end up fucking killing me. I can't deal with this. And so, the rage and the, he didn't really bully. He didn't bully, but it was the name calling and just how angry he would be when he suspected something, or I didn't do something the way he felt that I should do it, or it was something that disturbed him. Again, not a good relationship to be with. If you are fearful or you're intimidated by the person that you are laying down with, the person that you're building a life with, you're sleeping with, whatever the case may be, find a way to get out. And if that's somebody that you feel like you want to continue to be with the rest of your life, then you all better seek some counseling. Because again, it goes back to what I said before, which was if somebody doesn't see anything wrong with their behavior, it's not going to change. And in addition to that, if this is what somebody is used to doing, it may not change ever. Or it may take a while to change. But I didn't want to take that chance of waiting for it to change and he be done beat my ass and put me in a hospital or damn near kill me.
And one of the things, Les, that I'm glad you brought this up. Because a lot of individuals, a lot of folk use the name of love to carry out some nefarious, some hideous ass shit in their relationships. Well, I did this because of X, Y, and Z. I did this because of I love you and all that shit like that. Listen. That shit is not love. You understand me? It's not. And another thing that she mentioned when she first came into this topic is you have to be very careful of what you say because you will commit to it. It's just like if somebody's pressuring you to have sex. You be like, well, not tonight, tomorrow, or next week. You done already kind of locked in your brain, like, yo, I'm going to go ahead and give into this thing next week. I don't want to do it today, but I'm going to give into it. Or if you tell somebody, like the guy was pressuring her or making her feel a certain way, you have to be careful what you say because you will keep going. You'll keep doing this. and you'll say what you need to say to carry it out. Just like a bully keeps saying, yo, I'm gonna whip such and such. Matter of fact, we see this shit on social media all the time. You see rappers, you see different people always saying something about somebody else. Oh yeah, when I see them, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. Knowing maybe in your heart or mind, you just putting on, you're not gonna really do that when you see that individual person. But trust me, when them fans and them people around, that pressure is on, you done talked about that for a month and a half. Now you run into this person on the street. What's gonna happen? Either you gonna throw them hands, you gonna fire that weapon, or you just gonna walk away. But now that you put it out there, you done built this energy up, you done built this thing up, that person may even come attack you because of all that stuff you've been saying about them. You have to be careful of what you're saying and what you put into fruition, what you put out here in this world, because again, what you put out will come back to you. So with that being said, I'm sorry. I just said
that.
Word.
All right, y'all. So I'm just going to rush through these 3 because we still got more and it's almost 8 o'clock. Y'all know sometimes we go over a little bit. But withholding, refusing to communicate, acting passive aggressively, deceiving, lying, cheating, false flattery, pretending to be on your side. Yeah, and that becomes a problem too when you get in relationships and a person is constantly lying. Yes, sometimes they get over on us. I'm talking about men getting over on women and women getting over on men. It works both ways.
Facts.
And sometimes, you want to believe what they're saying, but when the writing is on the wall, you got to start making some decisions. Mm-hmm. You got to start making some decisions when you can see the writing on the wall. Do you continue to put up with things? This is something that I always say, and something that I had to learn and being an adult probably in my late 30s, that you can't keep doing this. You did this, you did that, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You got to start doing this. What do I keep putting up with? Why do I keep dealing with this? He's doing this or she's doing this because I'm allowing it. So stop always placing blame on the person that you're in a relationship with and start looking at you. Start looking at the behaviors that you continue to tolerate. Start looking at the behaviors that you accept. Start looking at the behaviors, again, that you make excuses for instead of saying to yourself, you know what, I'm better than this. This person is not treating me the way that I want to be treated. This person's not doing the things that I want him to do or her to do. They're disrespecting me. They're making me feel less than who I am. And that's why I said earlier, and we didn't really spend a whole lot of time on this when I said it, is that sometimes you have to be willing to let people go. Guess what, y'all? It is okay not to be in a relationship. It's okay not to have a boyfriend. It's okay not to have a girlfriend. When you start jeopardizing and losing yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth having this man around who treat you like shit? Oh my gosh. You notice I don't curse as much when they're guests on the show. Maybe they need to be guests on the show. But it's not right. It's not worth somebody treating you like shit. Where's your self-respect? Forget whether this person is respecting you or not. You gotta respect you. Cause see, when you start respecting you and you start commanding more, you don't deal with that bullshit.
Right.
When you see it coming, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes okay, well, I can look past this. But when it's repeated and it's a constant, when it's to the point where it's degrading, stop blaming that person.
Right.
Start blaming you because you're putting up with it. All right, so manipulating, and we're going to get to that as well. Trying to make you feel guilty for your needs or desires. Threatening self-harm if you don't comply with their wishes. Being overly jealous or suspicious. I've dealt with that as well. Controlling people do not value. We're getting ready to close on the controlling piece of the show.
Thanks.
Controlling people do not value treating others with respect or dignity. Rather, they seek power at your expense. They believe that their stature increases as your power and stature diminishes. If you recognize some of these signs of toxic control in an important relationship, you owe it to yourself to evaluate whether the relationship is right for you. And I just said that. You may wish to call attention. And y'all, I didn't read everything verbatim. I just highlighted some things. So I'm not just going off of what I read earlier. I'm just going on what I know. You may wish to call attention to these behaviors and stand firm that they need to change. And if they don't change, you have to make a decision. And I want to say this. Stop giving people ultimatums. Stop saying, if you don't do this, I'm going to do that. And then when they do that, you don't do shit except keep dealing with the same behavior.
You ain't gonna do
Stop
it.
saying, I'm leaving, and you stay. Stop worrying about and going through their phone, checking to see if they're cheating, and you stay
They're going to find a way to hide it.
No, I'm just saying, if you find it,
Oh, I know, you know.
And you stay anyway.
You're right.
So again, think about the decisions that you make. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I done gone through it, and I guess it's easy for me to say a lot of things. I've been through some stupid shit. I've dealt with a lot of nonsense and being in relationships, and you have to learn to appreciate you. Again, what's better, to be happy and alone? Again, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. What's better than being at peace with who you are, being surrounded by good friends and family, or being locked in a relationship with a dude or female who just giving you hell? All right, so let's move into manipulation.
Before you say that though, but when you get tired of the ish, it's a wrap.
Right.
And they gonna catch the full force, get busy now. Go ahead.
I was trying to come up with a song, but I couldn't think of one.
Oh, so good.
All right, 11 signs you're being manipulated in a relationship and how to fix it. Manipulation. Let's get the definition, guys. And this is by Teresa Newsom. Manipulation is control or influence a person or situation cleverly, unfairly, or unscrupulously. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a partner who was so in your head that all of a sudden you woke up and realized you were willingly doing things you never usually agree to? And I talked about this earlier, and that was a relationship that I was in. You know, again, because I wanted him to be happy. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. You know, not to the point where I was just like dumb doty. Yeah, you
ain't putty.
Look, a wet noodle.
Right.
But you know, like with one thing, when we were in a relationship, you know, I got my number changed a couple of times for him. You know, and then the last I was like, forget this, I'm not changing my phone number no more. And so again, like I said,
if I changed my number, you ain't getting it.
Right, and that's what I did. Change my number. Let me tell y'all what happened. Because me and one of his cousins was cool. Change my phone number, and I tell people to this day, do not give my phone number out unless you ask me first. Don't give my number out. So, I don't know what happened. Out the blue, phone rings. Hello? Yeah, what you doing? What are you doing with my damn telephone? What are you doing with my damn telephone number?
Wasn't expecting that.
You know, so the cousin, well, he said the cousin didn't give it to him. He said he was over the cousin's house, went through the caller ID, saw my telephone number. So anyway, like I said, just be careful. And again, sometimes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. So here's some signs that you're being manipulated. Plain old bullying. I'm not going to cover that because we already talked about that.
Yes.
Home court advantage. Listen to this, guys. Manipulation is all about control. Ooh. Think about R. Kelly. Think about that situation. Manipulation is all about control. One of the tactics used to gain control is to take a person out of their element. And this is the first time I'm reading this, y'all.
Oh, yeah, my God.
Think to yourself about where you live, where you hang out, who friends you visit, and where you go on dates. Are they all your partner's favorite spots? Do you live in your partner's life, but they don't live in yours? Now think about how R. Kelly moved them from their home court, took them out to Chicago, Atlanta, wherever he was. You don't have anybody around you. You know, he's got all of these people on his payroll, and they're going to do basically...
You ain't got ish out here.
They're going to do basically whatever he says for them to do. Again, home court advantage. This could be a manipulation tactic, which it was, designed to make your partner feel more in control. And he did. He was in control. And it didn't matter if he was in Chicago and the girl was in Atlanta, because he had people who also controlled the situation, but he had brainwashed them, or however you choose to word it. He had done that so much, guys, that they didn't leave. They stayed locked in the room. Can I come out? What? Can I what? Get out of here. Can I come out of my room? Can I use the bathroom? Can I do this? Can I do that?
Do you remember?
What?
Matter of fact, he had a trainer to teach the women when they came in. This is X, Y, what you do, X, Y, da 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 da. Oh, he had a trainer to train these chicks on how and what to do and how to proceed forward if you want to be with me and live in his house. How can you have a trainer to be rude, disrespectful, and teach you specific things?
Because money talks.
That caters to him, but you don't really get shit in return. Except for diseases and foul treatment.
Money talk. So it also says, listen to this, guys, and think about how true this is. You're easier to control when you're not comfortable in your surroundings. So this is what they suggest you do. Equal home court advantage, 50-50. You both live in each other's lives. You both choose places to go on dates. You both only go to places where you feel comfortable. It's part of being in a healthy, equal relationship. Tugging on your heartstrings. Let's say your partner finds a kitten. Okay, I want to read that one, y'all. If you really loved me. I didn't know people still did that.
They still do that, Les.
If you love me, you would do this. Or you're not doing that, so that means that you're not really into me like you say. You playing with my feelings, you playing with my emotions, blah, 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 blah.
You don't care about me like that.
Right. Let me see what they say about what to do. But what to do in that situation, shut it down. Say something like, I can still love you with my whole heart without going to the store to get you ice cream.
Yo, you making my ice cream, guys.
All right. So, emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail is ugly, and there are not many ways it can result in a healthy relationship. It looks like I'll kill myself if you leave, and that has happened to people. I haven't had that situation, so I can't relate to that. But I'll kill myself if you leave, or it can also look like I would die without you. Again, I've never experienced that.
I have.
That's what somebody told you?
Listen, I had one episode with a person, we were driving on 95, full speed. She gonna stop in the middle of the street, in the middle lane. Cause I told her I didn't want to be, this is the last time that we gonna be together. She's gonna stop in the middle of 95. You talking about the Doppler effect? Y'all know what that is? You talking about cars going by? I mean, horns out the wazoo, people skidding and scratch. So I kindly told her, I was just like, what are you doing? I was just kidding. I was just playing. Like, damn, like, I had to say something to get her going again. Because we was going to die. As a fact, I was wondering why I didn't die. That's why I say, you know what? God, thank you. Thank you for sending your angels to protect me, because I'm telling you, I will never, ever forget that day in my life.
All right, playing the victim. Let me paint a scenario. You and your partner get into a fight, no matter who was in the wrong, what was said, or what actually went down. Your partner is just heartbroken, can't believe you hurt them like that. Even if your partner is actually the one who did something wrong, and no matter how you reacted, you're always apologizing. Your partner is always hurt and helpless and in need of attention and extra love. I can't say that I've experienced that.
I have.
Okay, I'll let you take that one away.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where when you love somebody, you're in a relationship with somebody, right? They done something terrible to you. You confront them or say something about it. By the time that conversation is over, you done hugging them and kissing them and doing whatever, because they done flipped that whole situation to where as though they were the victim and not you. I've been there. I've seen it. I've done it. Sometimes in my past as a young man, I even lied or flipped some things on somebody else because information that I knew about them and flipped it on them. I did this because of X, Y, and Z and blah, 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 blah. Just to gain that access, gain that control. But when you're in a situation or you're in a relationship where you're constantly always trying to win or defeat somebody else or a situation, it's a never a win-win situation. It's just not. I mean, it's just not.
All right, so listen to what they say you should do. Apologize for what you feel you need to apologize for. Don't give in to your partner's constant attempts to shame you into falling on your sword. Say things like, I'm really sorry I got upset and raised my voice. That was uncalled for, but I want to apologize for being upset about what you did. Here's how that made me feel prepared. And I find myself doing that a lot with Big Will. You know, we would get in arguments and things, and he'd be like, are you going to apologize? No, because I don't feel like there's anything that I need to apologize for. You know, and if it was something that he felt that I should apologize for, I may say, well, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to apologize for how I feel. And I'm not going to apologize for reacting to how you made me feel. Mm-hmm. Now, I apologize for yelling or cursing.
Right.
But I'm not going to apologize to you because I don't like what you said. Come on. Yeah. All right. All right, so gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation most likely to make you feel like you're losing your darn mind. Your partner does shady things on a consistent basis, like pretend they didn't say things, pretend you didn't say things, leave out information, twist the truth, reinvent the past, make you think you forgot things, and make you feel like you're losing it in general. When it's done enough, you'll feel like you can't trust your own brain. So you must need your partner back to keep you on track. Don't let people make you feel like you're losing it.
Been there.
Even if you have to take a minute to breathe and step away from the conversation, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 days, regroup. Again, some people are so good with convincing you to think the way that they think, and they make you lose track of what your thoughts are and how you feel about a situation. So don't fall into that trap. But this is what they say you should do, guys. Get away. I just said that. Damn, I just said that. Gaslighting is a serious form of abuse. Abuse, plain and simple. All right.
Man.
Convenient neediness. When things don't go your partner's way, they are sick or weak or in need of care and support. This is actually a form of manipulation. So what to do, and I'm just going to breeze through these, y'all. What to do. This is not a healthy relationship, and it's one you probably want to think about leaving. But in the moment, you can make a plan for how your partner can be cared for while you go do what you need to do. Killing them with kindness. Kindness as a manipulation is especially damaging because it makes you question people's motives every time they're nice to you. What to do? Kindness with an ulterior motive is not really kindness. You can say thank you for the kindness, but still not give in to controlling aspect of manipulation. They are calm, cool, and collected. Women something, what does it say? Women sometimes, I don't know what that's supposed to say. Women something bad happens. When something bad happens, there's conflict or things seem to be in chaos. Is your partner super calm? This can be manipulation that makes you feel like you're overreacting. And yes, some people will try to make you feel like you've blown the situation out of proportion. I've had that situation with Big Will. We be in conversation and, you know, he's like, oh, I can't believe you feel that way. Blah, 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 blah. You're reacting. You can't tell me how you made me feel.
Minimization.
You cannot tell me how you made me feel. You all stop doing that. If somebody said that you hurt them or you made them feel a certain way, you need to address that.
Facts.
Just because it's not big to you, it's big to them. And if they brought it to your attention, you need to address it and you need to hear them. You need to understand what they're saying. Again, just because it's not going to affect you in that way, it doesn't mean it didn't affect them in that way. Be more considerate of your partner's feelings. I've had to tell Big Will that all the time. It does. And he's told me that sometimes. Like, well, as you told me, don't downplay my feelings. So like I said, be mindful of how you make your partner feel. All right. What to do in that situation? If you're a person who falls for this manipulation often, you might need therapy to help get back in touch and trust your true emotions. Like I said, y'all, don't lose how you feel about something. You got to trust your gut. You got to go with how you feel. They're always just joking. This is manipulation in two parts. The first part is one where they say hurtful things to criticize you, but it's your fault for getting upset because they were totally just kidding. There have been times where I've had to tell Big Will, yo, that shit was not funny.
Yo, say that shit again.
Yeah, that shit wasn't funny. And don't say it again.
Facts.
No, it's not cute and it's not funny, and don't say it again.
You get away with that shit.
Alright, you don't have to worry about ruining the fun or being too sensitive. This is what you should do. It can be a difficult thing to confront your partner when they hurt you. It ain't difficult. And risk looking like the bad guy. Yeah, and get past that, y'all. Sometimes we don't confront situations because we're worried about... Yeah, which part?
Please do that. About the...
I just read the whole thing. You don't worry about ruining the fun or being too sensitive. It can be a difficult thing to confront your partner when they are hurt and to risk looking like the bad guy. But standing up for yourself is important, even if the manipulator will likely try to shame you for it. Again, stand your ground. Stand your ground. We're all not going to agree on things. But if somebody hurt you, don't let them convince you that they didn't. You know how you felt. You know how their actions, you know how their words made you feel, and you confront them. Again, like I said earlier tonight, if people don't see anything wrong with their behavior and their actions, I just got to stop for a minute. Hey, Crystal Stroud, Coleman. But like I said, don't allow somebody to tell you how you feel. Don't let them manipulate your thoughts. You know how you feel, and you know how their actions or their words made you feel, and you address it. And if it doesn't change, I never tell anybody to leave their man, leave their woman. But again, if it's things in a relationship that you don't like, you have to make a decision. Do you keep on dealing with it? Do you try to seek some counseling or find some way to make it work? Or do you move on?
You got to move on, or you're going to fall in line. And then you really going to go through some stuff. You're going to be crazy.
All right, so y'all, let's see what else. So here's my thoughts on tonight's topic. Sex, power, control, manipulation. You have to learn to have, and you may not always have the upper hand in your relationship, but you have to learn at some point to have the upper hand. If you don't like what's going on in your relationship, it's up to you to change it. It's up to you to fix it. Or it's up to you to move away from the situation. Don't be so pressed to be with someone that you're disrespected, that the behavior is demeaning, that they're, not giving you all that you want and all that you need. Again, even before that process starts, weed and seed. Before you go into a relationship, figure out what you want. Figure out what you want. So that's all I have to say about sex, power, control, manipulation.
And never go into a relationship, a one-night stand, or anything that's dealing with your emotions or you getting caught up in any situation. Because if you deal with somebody and you're not in a place to handle, you will get handled. Trust and believe exactly what I'm saying.
Home court advantage. It's almost like that.
Home court advantage. They see, look, it's almost like you have the best team. You have the Golden State Warriors against the New Jersey Nets or somebody like that. You understand?
What's wrong with the New Jersey Nets?
What I'm trying to say is Golden State wins a lot more games than New Jersey at this time.
Don't use New Jersey next time.
So what ends up happening is, see, that's the form of shit I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
But they coming in on their home court, and they should taking apart piece by piece, piece by piece. You're like, damn, game over. You know what I mean? But I will say this: if you're not ready to handle a relationship or just putting yourself in a vulnerable place, sex is a powerful tool that can be used to enhance you or your relationship, or it can be used to break you down or destroy you, okay? So don't get into no sexual relationships when you are under the influence or can be influenced by power, manipulation, and control, because you want to be liked, you want to be
in a relationship,
you want to be committed, you want to be all these things, but don't do it in that capacity, because somebody gonna roll that big carpet over your eyes, and then it's done. It's a wrap. So that's what I'm going to say about tonight's whole conversation, is that you have to be very careful of how you utilize sex, how you utilize power, how you utilize control, and how you utilize manipulation. I don't really recommend either one of them, but it's just how you go about it in a positive way in your relationships, because using it negatively will only bring back negativity in your lives.
All right. I like this, Eleanor. Never settle. Know your value. Know your worth. My cousin, her name is We all call her Shakira. The family calls her Shakira.
Yeah.
But her name is Aisha, and I think this is like a screen name or something that she has and says A for self-love. That girl loves herself. Not saying she's arrogant, but know your worth. Know your self-worth. Because the minute you let somebody start demeaning you and, again, disrespecting you, you get lost in that and you forget who you are. You forget how valuable you are, how worthy you are of more. So anyway.
And it can happen so quickly.
Right, it is. It can.
Happen so quickly. Be like, blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
You done. You go on.
So who's on the show next week?
Woo-wee. You know what I'm saying? February 12th, 2019. I'm going to tell y'all a little something about who we're going to have on the show next week. We have a legend coming onto this platform. And yo, he's not just in Virginia, but he's international. Internationally. We got DJ, disc jockey, producer of music and film, and so much more. You'll find out next week. So tune in, because we got my mans, we got my guest, our mans, aka El Bravador, is coming on to the show. So tune in next Tuesday, February 12th, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Next week, y'all, be here.
So did you did the men's corner already?
I kind of did the men's corner, but men's corner, I would just tell y'all, listen, men, if you have boundaries, okay, keep your boundaries. Not only just for yourself, but it means so much to stay in your lane, to keep your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, your physical boundaries. Because sometimes when we're under pressure sometimes, whether it be by physical assault, and I'm not saying getting beat up and all like that, we might not have had none for a long time. And you might got an attractive female be like, yo, and have me. But if she ain't right in here, and if you can feel her spirit, if she ain't right in here, you need to walk away, because you're going to get something. You're going to attract something to come in your life. It ain't going to be good. And it's going to almost take a lifetime to push it out. So, but I'm just saying, y'all, keep boundaries, because boundaries are a line that marks the limits of an area or dividing line. If you don't know how to stand and keep your boundaries together, you'll always fall for something. Allow somebody to keep pushing you into things that you may not agree with, pushing you into things that you may not like, pushing you into situations that you will actually regret later. You know what I mean? So stand your ground, especially if it's something that's good for you. Like if you're a good person, keep those boundaries around you to keep you a good person. Because once you let that in, it's going to be hard to keep them out. So that's my thing for Men's Corner for tonight. You got some announcements next week?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool.
All right. So don't forget this great product, guys. Potion number 2 is for your bathroom needs. You spray it on the water before you go. Spray and go so no one knows. Everyone poops. No one likes to smell it. This will mask your poop smell. Comes in 3 great fragrances. This is Alpha Mist. This has more of a masculine smell. Mm-hmm. This is...
Alpha Mist is great, y'all.
What is this? This is Citrus Blend. You know, it really doesn't matter what I say it is. It's not like anybody.
Yeah, that's for the ladies.
See the label. But this is Citrus Blend. I could have said it was Island Breeze, but this is Citrus Blend. Of course, it has, again, a citrusy scent. It smells really good. Sometimes I can't choose between the Citrus Blend and our newest scent, Island Breeze. So these smell really, really great. They're only $3. Support my business. Potion number 2. I've also posted the link, so you can go to the website. I posted the link for perfect segue for my 2019 CNL Woman to Woman Conference. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be great. We're going to have 4 dynamic speakers, 8 vendors. We have activities for you. We have lunch. Please support this, guys. 3 packages available. We can offer you a payment plan. So we want to make it easy for everybody. Again, this is going to be a great event. This is going to be my first big conference. I've hosted other events. Thank you, Chris Styles. I've hosted other events. And so, but this is going to be a really big one. This is the first time I've done something on this scale. And so I'm excited about that. So please come and support, guys. Again, you can have a payment plan. Go to the website, look at the different packages. We will work with you. Also,
you know what?
What?
I'm going to stop you for a second. Look, EDP 365, HCHs. I feel terrible as an individual person and a friend.
Why?
Listen, sometimes I was so busy and caught up in the things that I was doing and thought that I would have time to actually I was going to be a vendor to support the show, that I didn't even make the vendor count. So I'm just saying this, putting this out there. I failed in that manner because I thought that I was going to have enough time to get in to be a vendor for the show. But
you do other great things.
Do you hear?
No such a thing. No such a thing.
She's wonderful.
No such a thing.
But I just had to say that.
No such a thing. No such a thing. So, that's all I have for tonight. And y'all support these businesses. And I'm not going to say support people because they're black. I think that's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard. Support people because they're black. No, you support people because they have a great business. You support people because they provide great customer service. I'm not going to support somebody because they're black and their business is fucking crap. Freaking crap. I like sentence enhancers, y'all. Forgive me. So, support other people, guys, and the things that they do. Next week's going to be a great show. Don't forget about potion number 2, CNL. Join Me, Connect, Promote. If you are a business owner or entrepreneur, join Everyday People 365 page. Join Authors in Co-op. Y'all, pay attention to Authors in Co-op because some things are going to be coming up. So glad I didn't take the page down. So I'm trying to get back into writing mode, so that's going to be great. Big shout out to Miss Valerie McAllister. Yeah.
Doing it big on writing.
Public waste. That damn Eleanor talking about some of my public waste. Who?
Yeah. Who?
You got puppies at home? Public waste.
Who?
Come on, Eleanor. What are you doing?
One last message before we go off for the air tonight. We have next week, actually February 9th on the weekend, we have the Get Lit. I am an active member of Beamer Black Male Emerging Readers. We're having an event called Get Lit Saturday, February 9th at 2019. It's free to the public. It starts at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Richmond Public Library, 101 East Franklin Street, Richmond, Virginia. Again, come in, see some amazing authors. We have some amazing panel discussions, and we also have we have some great things going on. There's going to be several authors there who are going to be presenting during the event. There will be tables available, like refreshments and things of that nature. So come down and support your fellow authors.
This is the first
who are still in the state of VA. And in addition, again, this is a great event, and I definitely love the members, the board members, the people of Beamer, because they are actually great people doing some amazing things in the community. And again, this is just one of the events that they're putting on for authors for Virginia. And then I will be also presenting for my children's books, who should be coming out. I wish I had the cover to show y'all for tonight.
It is so adorable, y'all.
So it's called Christopher's First Pair of Glasses. And from that, it will be Christopher's first series of books, using some of my childhood experiences and talking about those experiences and learning lessons as I was growing and moving forward in the world, learning my place and all that good thing. So if Les don't have anything else to chime in on from EDP 365, again, we love you. We are growing our entrepreneurship, our viewership. And we are actually transitioning at some point soon into YouTube And again, we're going to be out in the community doing some very big things. And again, keep watching our brand grow. Each individual of us growing. And those people around us we're networking with are going to grow exponentially as well. Again, we love you. Be safe. Keep that mind right. Get that body right. Get that spirit right. Peace.